Man, I love joke weapons. It brings me back to the early PlayStation 2 days where there'd be a secret cheat code you could enter, or a secret unlockable for finishing the game to change one of the weapons to something absolutely ridiculous. Square Enix wanted to join in on the early 2000s video game joke weapon trend with Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. Days included an additional mode known as Mission Mode that allowed you to go back through missions that were included in the game's story, but this time around play as all of the Organization 13 members. This meant that you could change the gear and equipment for all of the playable organization members, and Days included two very unique pieces of equipment, mystery gear and casual gear. Equipping one of these gears would result in the character receiving a joke weapon, though casual gear provides more of the joke weapons, whereas mystery gear, for some characters it's definitely a joke weapon and others not so much. Now Mickey, Riku, Sora, Donald and Goofy are playable characters in mission mode, but unfortunately they didn't receive joke weapons when equipping them with mystery and casual gear. Yo, PlayStation 1 Sora do be tweaking though. Both Xion and Roxas share the same casual gear. Go figure. The joke weapon here is a black and white umbrella with a snail for the keychain. I don't exactly understand the keychain being a snail, but random and jokish nonetheless. I do wish for specifically Roxas the casual gear was actually different. Keep the umbrella for Xion and have rather for Roxas the stick that he finds in Beast's castle. It's believed that this is a possible reference to Final Fantasy VII, with the umbrella being a sort of joke weapon throughout the compilation. The mystery gear for Xion and Roxas is the Oh Bad, not really a joke weapon, and rather, for one, a pretty cool looking keyblade, but two, also having a pretty significant meaning behind it. Oh Bad is actually a poem that was written by Philip Larkin back in 1977. The theme of the poem is to do with death, as well as two lovers parting. Is this not completely appropriate with what happens in the story of Days between both Roxas and Xion? While of course not lovers, good friends indeed, the tragic conclusion that Days plays out is very appropriate to what this keyblade here represents. If you also pay close attention to the design of the keyblade, you'll notice that there's a katana. Appropriate given that the nobody that represents Roxas is the samurai nobody. The casual gear for Xemnas is the round fan, because someone needs to cool me down. Daddy's making me question myself. This is just evidence that the castle that never wasn't installed with AC, a major oversight by the organization. Each of the joke weapons have unique particle effects for when you hit an enemy. For the fan, it is little wind waves. Xemnas' mystery weapon isn't so much a joke weapon. It's known as Absolute and is actually pretty cool. This interesting looking design of a purple earthreal blade. It resembles something very similar to perhaps the noise that we see from The World That Ends With You. Additionally, it also makes up a heart in the middle of the blade. One thing that should be known about specifically mystery gear is it is said to draw out the wielder's personality. Xigbar's casual gear is a pair of hair dryers. I love this so much. What does this tell us about Xigbar? He cares about his hair. Well, maybe I should be saying that Lushu cares about his hair. Maybe Lushu only picks vessels that have good hair. Have we ever thought about this? The one thing that I absolutely love about this weapon is every time you attack with it, it literally makes hairdryer sound effects. Xigbar's mystery gear is a pair of trumpets. I love this so much because this basically tells us that Lushu is a little bit full of himself. You know, toot your own horn. The particle effects for this weapon are music notes and sound waves, and the sound effects are so good. Zoldan's casual gear is a broom. Does this mean he likes to clean? I'm not too sure. Maybe he hates dust buildup. Possibly. As you attack enemies with this weapon, pieces of hay fly out of the broom. There really is something so amazing about seeing Zoldan send forward 6 brooms to impale his enemies. Zoldan's mystery gear isn't really a joke weapon, it's actually a pretty cool one. It makes a lot of sense for him considering it draws out his personality. It's known as Wyvern, it's a spear with a wyvern head at the top. Again, making a lot of sense because Zoldan is basically a dragoon of the Kingdom Hearts universe. Vexen's casual gear is his grandmother's favorite pot lid. As you attack with this weapon, the clinks and clanks of slamming a steel pot lid against a Heartless's forehead emit. And the particle effects for this weapon is great. When you perform the combo finisher, pot handles fly off. Vexen's running animation in Days is just hilarious as is, but on top of him also holding a pot lid while he's performing this absolute circus act, oh my god, golden comedy. Vixen's mystery gear though makes a lot of sense for him. It is a shield with a snowman on it. Although this guy definitely sends creepy vibes, one thing to know about him is he loves to build a snowman. He should have been incorporated into Arendelle in Kingdom Hearts 3 in some shape or form, but unfortunately he wasn't. Lexaeus' casual gear is a giant squeaky hammer, known as Bleep Bloop Bop. I'm not making this up, that is the official name of the weapon. Personally, this is my favorite joke weapon out of the bunch, just because I love the sound effects the weapon makes every single time you land a hit. Just a quick little add-on, why does Lexaeus air dash like this? Lexaeus' mystery gear is this. Oh man, it makes so much sense. This is known as Monolith, one of those big stone statues that you would come across over on Easter Island, known as a Moai. But considering that Lexaeus' element is Earth, this just makes a ton of sense. It's fantastic. Does bro know he's reading a sandwich? I didn't even know you could read a sandwich. But Xion seems to believe that there is a lot to learn by reading your sandwich. Casual gear for Xion is a toasted ham, cheese, and lettuce sandwich. I love the part in the combo where he literally sends out a piece of lettuce. Very effective. Xion's mystery gear is Dear Diary, which, you know, it's a diary. This isn't totally surprising considering that book lover over here has a book that he writes all of his feelings in. But hey, each to their own. I would love to actually flick through the pages of this to see what Xion was saying about his co-workers. I bet there is some juicy goss in this. Banana. 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 Casual gear for Saix is a big banana. Important piece of Kingdom Hearts lore. Saix's favorite fruit is a berry. I have no words for this other than beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, and by the way, when you activate Saix's limit when equipped with the banana, it's peeled. What is this? What are we trying to get at here? Like, where are we going with this square? Saix's mystery gear is Bunny Moon, a stick with a rocket and a moon at the top. Very appropriate for Saix. The dude is obsessed with the moon. The best part is when Saix goes into his berserk state during his limit, we suddenly now have a big bunny on the stick. It's become increasingly obvious over time with Saix's character development that while he does have a hard exterior, he is all gooey marshmallow on the inside, and this is just simply the cherry on top. Axel's casual gear is 2 pepperoni, triple cheese, ultra deluxe habanero Papa John pizzas. Could it be that Axel's favorite food is pizza? Or is this more so telling us that Axel is in fact Italian? Axel's mystery gear is the Conformers. This is actually a reference to Yuffie's weapon that goes by the same name in Final Fantasy VII. Definitely not a joke weapon, just a more normal looking shuriken, but certainly does suit Axel. The Master of Masters, Demex's casual gear is a giant tennis racket. The weapon is known as Prince of Awesome, which for one, yeah, that's totally something that Demex would say about himself, but number 2, it's thought to be that this is actually a reference to the Prince line of tennis rackets. Mystery gear for Demex is a broom known as After School. Considering that no child wants to be sweeping the school floors after school, this certainly screams out that Demex gets jobs he just doesn't want to do. I also like the KH Wiki's write-up on this as well, his tendency to sweep things under the rug. Luxord's casual gear is a collection of CDs. You just know that these are Vanessa Carlton CDs that only have 1,000 miles on them. Perhaps the most intriguing of all of the joke weapons, these are known as Finest Fantasy 13. There's been a little bit of speculation surrounding this joke weapon. As we know now in 2024, Luxord isn't actually from the Kingdom Hearts Disney universe, but rather unreality. The reality that is quite clearly mirroring that of Final Fantasy Versus 13. Now, no, I don't believe that Tetsuya Nomura has looked all the way into the future and originally planned for Luxord to be this character from a complete alternate universe that is mirroring Versus 13. Because Days released in 2009, the same time that Nomura was actively working on Final Fantasy Versus 13, and that Final Fantasy 13 literally released a few months after Days. So yeah, without a doubt, just a simple reference to Final Fantasy 13, but still, it makes you wonder now with where Kingdom Hearts is currently positioned in regards to its narrative and the character of Luxord. Luxord's mystery gear is known as High Roller's Secret, the 4-leaf clover. And considering that Luxord has a total gambler theme going on, he is going to need as much luck as he can possibly get because he is running out of Bitcoin. Marluxia's casual gear is a giant soup ladle. We've got a bit of a food theme going on here with some of these weapons. Interestingly though, the official name of this weapon is known as Stirring Ladle, and actually makes a lot of sense for what Marluxia ends up doing in Chain of Memories, considering that he has his own agenda, and essentially went against the organization, stirring the pot, coming up with his own delicious pumpkin soup. Check out bro's moves with the ladle. Even Gordon Ramsay would be impressed. Marluxia's mystery gear is the dainty bellflower, a flower-like scythe. It would appear that Marluxia got the flower theme from back in the day during the era of Union Cross when he was known as Laurium from that of his sister Strelitzia. A lot of the time they spent together and memories created was sitting on a hill in a flower field in Daybreak Town. So again, this is probably another reference to that, though I think more so it's just playing on the whole flower theme that Marluxia already had from the very beginning. I don't think that Nomura had planned for this big origin story for Marluxia from the very get-go of the character back in 2009, but it's interesting how all of these strands seem to interconnect, and Nomura's storytelling is always very interesting how he manages to make all these connections actually make sense. Even though back then it didn't, very well now you could look at this as a reference to that of Marluxia's potential memory of Strelitzia. Luxine's casual gear replaces all of her knives with what looks like dragonflies at first. Then you read the official name, which is Demoiselle, which rather refers to a dragonfly-looking insect known as a damselfly. She likes bugs, and her mystery gear is a light bulb. Yep. Yeah, no, I get why. I understand why they went for this one. Makes total sense. Genius. You could say that's a light bulb idea. Because, you know, if you think about it, Luxine really is the brightest bulb in the room. So that right there is all of the Kingdom Hearts joke weapons. You can tell that Square Enix had a lot of fun coming up with these, some of them just completely random, but I think the more interesting thing is how they actually have hidden meanings behind the character who wields them. Let us know what your favorite is out of the bunch. However guys, that's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up with everything that is going on. Check out my other social medias like my Twitter or my Instagram. Thank you so much to my bangin' patrons. I appreciate the support, fellas. I'm Cynical. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day, and we'll talk real soon.